An anthropological conceptualization of self, the self as embedded in culture, reported by Ante, Joan Baes, and Lynette Baybay. Learning objectives. Recognize what the field of anthropology can contribute to the understanding of the self. Understand how culture and self are complementary concepts. Discuss the cultural construction of the self and social identity. Explain the concept of identity struggle and develop insight on how to achieve a sense of self situated in multicultural and dynamic situation. Anthropology. What about anthropology is considered as one of the most complex areas of discipline, has explored various meanings of culture, self, and identity in the desire to come up with a better understanding of the self. Is concerned with how cultural and biological processes interact to shape human experience. So basically, it's something to do with the culture of a human being. Different phases of culture. So there are some aspects that affect to the human being culture. That can be an attitude, beliefs, language, costumes, rituals, behavior, faith or religion, food, drama or art, music. James L. Peacock, as American anthropologist. According to him, anthropology encroaches on the territory of the sciences as well as the humanities and transcends the conventional boundaries of both while addressing questions from the distant past and the present, perhaps with implications for the future. So that's our experience from the previews that matter in the present time. Employing anthropological perspective that is perceiving holistically what could be the answer to the questions, who am I? Anthropology considered human experience as an interplay of nature, referring to a genetic inheritance which set the individual potential and nurture, referring to the socio-cultural environment. The most important contribution of the anthropology is providing insight into the nature of self based on continuous understanding of the basic elements of culture. The cultural construction of self and identity. Edward Taylor, a British anthropologist, defined culture as that complex whole which include knowledge, belief, art, moral, law, customs, and other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. And then Martin Zuckerfeld, German anthropologists, believe that the concept of self is a necessary supplement to a concept of culture in anthropology and should be regarded as a human universal. Culture as self thus become complementary concepts that have to be understood in relation to one another. So from this, where the person um situated in a certain place or where the person belong, also the social surround them, it can affect who he is or who she is, and the people also in the community.
Okay, so there are two sides of identity found in every person in every culture. So that's the egocentric and the sociocentric view. So when we say egocentric view, ito yung mga self-centered na tao or yung mga lack of self-esteem. While the sociocentric, ito naman yung mga socially oriented na tao. And the person gets their identity from the group. So, when we say egocentric view, it is the self is seen as an autonomous and distinct individual. So, they only think of themselves and their own wants. They do not consider other people. So, the best example here are the Americans. They are very egocentric because they believe that they should be assertive and independent. Next is the sociocentric view. It is the self is contingent on a social situation or social setting. So, they focus on one's own social group. Malaki yung emphasis ng mga sociocentric culture sa social setting na meron sila. So, for example, yung mga Chinese. So, the Chinese prioritize skin ties and cooperation. That's why communists sila. Then, they put importance to compliance and subordination of one's will to the authority figures in the family. Next is Christy Kiefer. So, for anthropologist Christy Kiefer, the Japanese possess a sociocentric view of the self in which the membership of a person in a particular social group defines the boundaries of the self. So, the interdependence between the person and the group is more valued than independence. Francis Shu. The Chinese-American anthropologist Francis Shu attributes a sociocentric view of the self to the Chinese. And he explains that the Chinese prioritize skin ties and cooperation. So, ayun nga, for them, the very essence of interpersonal relations is mutual independence. And in contrast with the Japanese and Chinese, the Americans are egocentric. Next is the identity toolbox. So, identity toolbox refers to the features of a person's identity that he or she chooses to emphasize in constructing a social self. So, dito, yung identity natin as a person, dinedetermine natin yan using our similarities and differences. Kadalasan kasi sa mga social-centric, pinaprioritize nila yung similarities. While sa mga egocentric naman, pinaprioritize nila yung differences. Kasi yung social-centric ng tao, very dependent sila sa social situation. And dapat, maging same sila dun sa social situation. While the egocentric naman, they prioritize their differences or their uniqueness as a person. Next is the personal meaning. A universal practice with numerous cross-cultural variations establishes a child's birthright and social identity. So, yung mga pangalan natin na yan, isa siya sa primary individual trait natin as a person. Sobrang important yan as a part of our identity. Personal names in all societies are intimate markers of a person which differentiates him or her from others. So, for example, the Aymara Indians. They do not consider an infant as a true human until a name is given to him or her. So, yung Aymara Indians, dito, yung mga bata kasi is around 2 years old and ready to speak Aymara language, meron silang tinatawag na special ritual na pina-perform bago pangalanan ng bata. Para kasing nagsisilbing mark yon ng identity ng mga bata that makes him or her fully accepted dun sa Aymara community. Well, dito naman sa Minangkabau culture, children inherit their mother's family name. So, another unique naming is practiced in Arctic Canada, kung saan yung mga bata naman are named after their deceased relative. Kasi doon, naniniwala sila na magiging helpful yun for their character formation. And lastly, here in the Philippines, it is common practice for Catholic parents to name their children after saints. So, ayun nga, naniniwala kasi diba sila na kapag pinangalanan nila yung anak nila ng mga sacred name like Maria, Jose, gano'n, mabibless and mapoprotektahan sila throughout their life.
So one of the anthropologists is Arnold van Gennep, na he believes that changes in one's status and identity are marked by a three phases rite of passage. These are the separation, liminality, and incorporation. Separation phase, people detach from their former identity to another. And liminality phase, a person transitions from one identity to another. The third one is incorporation phase. The change in one's status is officially incorporated. And last, identity struggles. Interaction in which there is a discrepancy between identity a person claims to possess and the identity attributed to that person by others. So I'll give example for these spaces. So the first one, separation phase. This one is the sample po is a person is resigning from their long-term job to embark on a new career path represents the separation phase. The individual consciously detaches from their previous professional identity. So this one is yung parang, syempre, alam mo na kung anong ginagawa mo sa araw-araw, parang nasanay ka na kung ano yun, and doon na rin nabuo yung sarili mo. So kapag nag-iba ka pa ng profession and different, nagpunta ka pa sa different path or different job, mag-iiba na naman, magre-reconstruct na naman yung parang new beginning na naman. So may iwan mo naman yung isang identity mo dun sa past job. So in the second one, liminality phase. This phase are kunyari is during a vacation, minsan or kadalasan na experience natin yung liminality. Nararanasan natin yung transitional state, yung kumbaga na kapag nagbe-vacation ka, syempre hindi mo maiiwasan na maisip pa rin yung mga schedules mo. Parang syempre yung daily works mo and daily routines mo, nagkakaroon ka ng check ng pagising sa umaga, tapos mag-check ng mga schedules, tapos parang hindi sanay yung katawan mo para sa bagong phases. So the third one is in preparation phase. After completing a challenging training program, individuals may enter the incorporation phase as they integrate the acquired skills and knowledge into their daily professional practices. This phase marks the assimilation of the new identity. Good example dito is yung mga soldiers, yung nagti-training camp. Meron sila, syempre papasok sila ng wala silang alam tungkol dun sa profession nila. Pero pagtapos nun is magkakaroon na sila ng new identity na parang kailangan ko gawin to if something happened na gano'n. Parang yung knowledge nila and yung skills nila, i-acquire nila yun sa daily life nila ngayon. So sa identity struggles naman, adolescents navigating the transition from high school to college may encounter identity struggles. The challenge of adapting to a new environment, forming new relationship, and defining their personal values contribute to this phase of uncertainty and self-discovery. So this identity struggles is about yung kapag syempre high school ka. So sa high school iba naman yung phase nun magiging parang masaya and maraming new adventures and journey. Syempre sa college rin meron rin new adventures and journey pero sa ibang tao naman. So parang may isip mo kung ano ba talaga ako? Sino ba talaga ako? Parang dati naman hindi ako ganito. So this identity struggles, dun yun papasok sa first to third siguro ng years ng pagiging college life. And then Golubovic, 2011, suggests that in order to attain self-identification, individuals have to overcome many obstacles such as traditionally established habits and externally imposed self-images. So this, yung sinasabi naman ni Golubovic na dapat kapag para makamit mo yung self-identification mo, meron ka dapat na maranasan na journey, experiences, and meron kang nagsiset ka ng standards about your self-images. So, ganyan yung sinasabi ni Golubovic. Catherine Ewings naman, meron siyang illusion of wholeness na nagsasabing exhibits how individual selves throughout the world continuously reconstitute themselves into new selves in response to internal and external stimuli. So yung illusion of wholeness, yun yung identity mo na isa kang flawless, isa kang perfect, parang ganun, in everyday struggle. Kahit alam mo namang hindi, kahit alam mo namang marami kang flaw, marami kang failures, and marami ka, pero iniisip mo pa rin na ito whole ako para sa next phase mo is magiging better na, yung parang ganun. And this one is the self as embedded in culture. So let me introduce the self-embedded culture po. The concept of self-embedded culture refers to a societal environment where individual identities are closely intertwined with and influenced by a culture norms, values, and practices. In such cultures, personal identities are often shaped and defined by the larger culture context. These interdependence can impact various aspects of life, including behavior, beliefs, and social interactions. Individuals within self-embedded culture may find a strong sense of identity and belonging within the cultural framework, but it can also bring challenges as expectations and norms play a significant role in shaping personal choices and expressions. The balance between individuality and conformity in such cultures can vary, impacting how people navigate their identities within the border culture contexts. Bali dito sa self-embedded culture, yung may connection ang culture and within yourself. So dito, specifically for Gertz, an American anthropologist, offer a reformulation of the concept of culture which favors a symbolic interpretative model of culture. He agrees with Max Weber na nagsasabing man is an animal suspended in webs of significance he himself has spun, in which those webs are perceived to be symbolic of culture. So, yung sinasabi ni Max Weber, man is an animal, is nag-emphasize sa idea ng human beings. Katulad ng ibang animals, nag-exist lang din sila sa world natin. Parte talaga sila ng natural world. However, that distinguish human is their ability to create and live in a complex system of meaning and interpretation. This web, tinutukoy ni Webb yung cultural, social, and symbolic structures that human constructs. Parang ginagawa niyang yung syempre kasama ng cultures, kaya meron silang connection. Ang animals ay may existence katulad rin ng human. Doon sila nagbe-base. So, meron two important ideas si Gertz. The first one is culture should not be perceived only as a complex set of concrete behavior, patterns, customs, usages, traditions, habit clusters assessed by the large, being the case up to now, but a set of control mechanism, plans, recipes, rules, and instructions for the governing behavior. And secondly, man is precisely the animal most disparately dependent upon such extragenetic, outside the skin, control mechanism, such cultural programs for ordering his behavior. And sinasabi ni Gertz yung important ideas, hindi lang yun about within sa atin. Hindi lang yun sa pagkakaroon natin ng tradition, hindi lang yun sa habit natin, hindi lang tayo yun. Kumbaga, meron din tong parte, parang meron tong dapat rules, meron tong guide para malaman natin kung sino talaga tayo, kailangan natin ng mga programs or sumali sa mga different traditions. So lastly, Gertz also emphasized that human nature is interdependent with culture, saying na without men, no culture. Certainly, but equally and more significantly, without culture, no man. Likewise, Robbins 2012 considered human beings as cultural animals as they create the meanings of objects, persons, behaviors, emotions, and events, and behave in accordance with meanings they assume to be true. So, dito sa may without men, no culture, sinasabi nito is, syempre yung yung mga men nagkakaroon, the people itself, meron siyang actions and beliefs na nagko-contribute sa cultural practices, traditions, and values. So kapag walang mga parang pag walang men, parang wala rin ng culture, wala rin mabubuo na traditions, wala rin value. Paano pa magbubuo ng isang kultura kung wala ka namang tao? So in without culture, no men, vice versa lang naman sila. This part underscores the idea that culture is essential for the existence and identity of the individuals. Culture provides the framework through which individuals understand themselves, relate to others, and make sense of the world. It suggests that without the influence of culture, individuals might lack the shared meanings and norms that shape their identity. In essence, the statement highlights the inseparable connection between the two individuals and the cultural context, emphasizing the mutual influence and the dependence of the two. So, yun nga yung nasabi ko, without culture no man, magiging wala ring, magkakaroon din ng wala ng saysay yung pagiging isang tao kung wala ka namang culture. Yun yung sinasabi dito. So, let's wrap it up. No? Sana may natutunan kayo within this topic. So, I'd like to thank you and we would like to thank you for listening to our topic. Have a blessed day.